It's the Ringside Wranglers Wrestling Report with your host, Jack Jaw.
Welcome, wrestling fans, to this week's episode of the Ringside Wrangler Wrestling Report. I'm your host, Jack Jaw, and my colleague is...
I'm back to the has-been again. Just like Vince McMahon, I can't make up my mind whether I want to be a face, whether I want to be a heel, whatever.
He is what he is. The has-been is in the house. Are you ready, wrestling fans? We got a lot of news to cover this week. We're covering everything in WWE, from Raw, NXT, SmackDown. We're talking AEW. We're talking Independence. We're talking really good story. At the end of the show, Matt Hardy special. Going to the top, the Raw show. This week, you've got Paul Heyman coming out, continuing to squash all the people thinking that his man Brock Lesnar, the advocate for the defending and blah, 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 talking smack. Guess what? Who's in the back? Who's in the back?
Drew McIntyre.
Drew saying, I'm not having any of this. His music hits. He hits the ring. Brock motions like he's going to leave, but guess what happens? Claymore kick lays him out. That was a pretty good moment. He leaves. He comes back, gets him on the ramp going up. I thought that was a great storyline. I said right off the bat, this is a good Raw episode. So they're teasing that one. That's going to be big. You know, it'll probably go back and forth for the next couple weeks. Lesnar will go up on one, then Drew will go up one. I'm thinking Drew's going to ultimately win it at WrestleMania.
And it wasn't just one Claymore kick. It was 1, 2, 3. Ring the bell. Claymore kicks. How about that?
I love the look on Paul Heyman's face.
Brock got buried.
When he gets smoked like that, Paul Heyman is just like out of it. It just looks looped. Either way, next up, you have the Raw Tag Team Championship being defended. Seth Rollins and Murphy against the Street Profits. I would have never thought the Street Profits be elevated to this point, but guess what? The Street Profits win the title.
Only thing I didn't like about it, and I've always said I don't feel comfortable about this, it's a little bit different now when you're paying the $10.98 for the pay-per-views, but when you were paying $50, $60 for a pay-per-view and they lost that match, the Street Profits, and then a few days later they win it back, or like the next night they win it back, it kind of cheapens it for the fans that pay that kind of money for the pay-per-view, and then the very next night on free cable TV or satellite or whatever they win. But it's a little different now because of the fact that it's a cheaper deal with Vince and the network. Anyway, to make a long story short, the Street Profits deserved it. I mean, they've earned the right to win that belt. They were just waiting for the right time. You listen to the show on Tuesday nights, the backstage with Booker T said that he really liked that tag team. He'd be in with his brother, Stevie Ray, Harlem Heat. They know a lot about tag team wrestling, and he felt that they just were one step away, just a little bit more seasoning they needed. They got that seasoning in Saudi Arabia, brought it back overseas, passed customs, believe it or not. No coronavirus issues, they weren't upheld. And the next thing you know, they win the belt.
Yep. Good for the faces of the show. But guess what? The heat doesn't stop because they're going to have to defend it this Sunday at the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, the Chamber.
Next up, the 24/7 Championship. It's evolved to actually fighting and defending it in the ring. They used to do it all the time, anywhere and everywhere. But guess what? Your guy Ricochet, talk about falling from the skies. He wrestles Brock for the title, the heavyweight title. He loses that. Then he goes on to fight for the 24/7 title. He loses that. So he is definitely in the doghouse. Vince, I'm guessing his high flying is over with Vince. But either way, Ricochet, I'm saying he's toast.
Yeah, I say Sheriff Bing Bing Bing, Ricochet Rabbit is on a downward spiral.
Yeah. Flush, that's right. Here we go. What do we got? I don't know where it is. He's on his way out. Yep, there we go.
Pass the Charmin, please. And make sure you use Purell on your hands because we don't want to catch the virus.
That's right, can't catch the virus.
And it's not Cyrus the virus either.
That's right, I remember him. So next up, you got Aleister Black. That was a match that was announced last week. I was going, man, Aleister Black going against AJ Styles.
Yeah,
how's that going to work out? Well, guess what? It's not going to work out like you thought because AJ Styles comes out with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, his partners in the OC. Mm-hmm. Guess what? He tells Aleister Black, you want me? You're going to have to fight them first. Aleister Black, he takes out Carl Anderson. Then he takes out Luke Gallows, and by that time, he's just spent. He's on Dream Street. AJ Styles gets the win, and he mocks The Undertaker with folding Aleister Black's hands on top of him and sticking out his tongue. I can't wait for AJ Styles to get his from The Undertaker.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Heyman booked that match since he's one of the big bookers backstage for Raw because that really made Aleister Black look good because, number one, he made him still look strong because he had to lose to 3 people.
Yep.
I mean, he actually had to fight. Let me rephrase that. He had to fight 3 people before he lost, which puts still over his strength. But it also lets AJ Styles not look weak as he prepares for his match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So I would not be surprised if AJ goes over Aleister Black at the Chamber, because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense, because you got to keep AJ hot and strong going into WrestleMania, but you don't want to bury Aleister Black because he's still on a roll. So Paul Heyman, that shows his genius right there, the way he made it to where it didn't make Black look weak by losing, but you also put AJ Styles over as a force, and then that ending was classic.
Yep.
That pinfall.
Punk, hit the next one. Look at that AJ Styles. Just,
Oh yeah, that's a great.
Yep.
Great.
And then there you got it. Next one, Punk. There's a no disqualification match for this Sunday's Elimination Chamber.
Right.
So being that it's no DQ, it looks like somebody's going to have to win or lose that one.
Right.
Unless they get some outside. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's no DQ. So
I still say AJ going over because you got to have him looking strong, because we're well within a few weeks before WrestleMania.
Yep. Next up, you got Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. This was teased a few weeks back when Ruby Riott came back, and she laid out her former friend, Liv Morgan, but you got a special guest referee this week, Sarah Logan. It goes back and forth. Liv Morgan gets the win, and Sarah Logan standing around, and guess what? She lays them both out. So,
I like that a lot because it made it look like Sarah Logan was going to team with Liv Morgan to go up against Ruby Riott, 2 women against 1, like a double team thing. But then at the very end, Sarah lays out Liv Morgan because it's every woman for themselves in the chamber.
Yep.
So it's probably some more Paul Heyman booking. That's why Raw's doing good right now. You get Paul Heyman, a genius mind like that, these matches are going to really look good. The angles are going to be sweet. Speaking of sweet, quick story, time out. I'm going last night to restaurant, right? And this lady says, I asked my girlfriend, what are you drinking? And she says, sweet tea. And she looks at me and I said, sweet tea. She goes, okay, too sweet. And I immediately went, just too sweet. I did it. It was just an instinct, brother. Instinct. It's in the brain. Wrestling injected in my blood. It ain't going away. Ain't no Hascom here. I don't care. I want to be infected by the wrestling bug because it's bad, brother. It's bad.
Next up, you got Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane with Osaka out there. Osaka is telling everybody good thing she's fighting you, because she was fighting me, she'd be losing. So Shayna Baszler, she's on the big build-up because she's ultimately going to be fighting the man. But either way, that's a build-up to this weekend's Elimination Chamber with all the women fighting for the right to fight the man.
Right.
So Shayna Baszler, they're calling her the Queen of Spades, Baszler.
I love it. Queen of Spades, just like the Ace of Spades.
Yep.
Let me a Motorhead. What a great idea.
So Shayna Baszler gets the win. During the match, you've got the man coming out with that cool little look with the glasses, coming out to the announcing, holding up her belt, teasing her. So it looks like she'll probably be doing that kind of role this weekend at Elimination, because she's not fighting this weekend. She's just going to be learning who she's going to be fighting against.
I heard some scuttlebutt about this match. And if you don't know what scuttlebutt means, boys and girls, look it up on Google. Scuttlebutt. It's not a bad term, by the way. But I'm hearing that perhaps Mr. McMahon wasn't very happy with Shayna Baszler's match against Kairi Sane. And also, Asuka was told that she couldn't wrestle the match because of a sprained elbow or wrist, whatever. I'm not sure that was true, too. I got some scuttlebutt about that. It looks like Shayna Baszler is not exactly on Mr. McMahon's favorite list right now, which is unfortunate. That may be why she wasn't able to win the Royal Rumble match and then went to Charlotte instead. And I don't know what's going to happen now, but hopefully she gets to fight the man, because that's what people want to see.
Yep. Ought to be good. Next up, you got Rey Mysterio and Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade, who's back from his injury, and Angel Garza. Rey Mysterio going in, I would have thought Andrade is going to get the win, being the U.S. champion or whatever. But no, Mysterio and Carrillo get the win. This was a fun match, a lot of talent going on. A lot of activity, guys high flying and stuff, but Mysterio's back.
That's another thing about this
scuttlebutt
about Andrade and injured.
Yep.
I don't think he really was injured. I think he failed the drugs.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness, don't tell me that.
Can't have that. Either way, that was a good win for Mysterio and Humberto Carrillo. Going on to the main event, I guess you want to call it the main event or the highlight of the night, you've got Randy Orton out there continuing week after week to answer questions, why he's doing this and why he's doing that. Unfortunately, this week you've got Beth Phoenix out there, who's Rated R superstar Edge's wife. She's out there trying to figure out why he did this and why he did that. And then Randy's ultimately blaming her, Beth Phoenix, for him doing what he did to her husband, saying you built him up and you made him think he was good enough to come back. Well, he's not good enough to come back, and that's why I did it. She wanted nothing to do with that. She slaps him. Oh, right there, fans. A woman gets RKO'd. I mean, next week, this is just going up and up and up at escalation and out of control. So, and then it just goes to the end of the show. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that when Edge comes back. I mean, it's going to be hell to pay.
He'll be back on Raw Monday, so they say, and I'm sure that's going to really put over their match at WrestleMania. But I've got a quick one, all right? Top 10 answers on the board, 100 people surveyed. Here's the question. Who is one of the greatest heel wrestlers of all time? What's your answer?
RKO.
Randy K. Orton. Survey says number one. Randy Orton, one of the most vicious, violent heels in the history of the business, just like his father was, just like his grandfather was. The guy's invincible.
He's awesome. Next up on the WWE family, you got the NXT show on Wednesday. We'll just run down some results here. Top of the show. You've got a lot of activity with NXT, but not a lot that you're paying attention to. You figure these are all guys that at some point are going to be coming up and become big-time characters or whatever. So we'll just cover the highlights of what happened. The first match out the gate, you had two steel cages in the NXT show this week. Tegan Knox versus Dakota Kai. Dakota gets the win there. A lot of high-flying activity in the cage. You had Chelsea Green versus Shotzi Blackheart. Chelsea gets the win there. You had the Undisputed Era, who I guess is trying to work their way back into the tag title show, or whatever. Undisputed Era versus Danny Burch and Oni Larkin. Era gets the win there. Obviously, they're talking after that match that they want their title. Next one, Punk. There they are. And then the next one, you had Isaiah Scott versus Austin Theory. Austin Theory's been beat down the last 2 weeks by Ciampa. Austin Theory gets the win there. Then you had the Velveteen Dream. I like that guy's character, fighting Roderick Strong. The Velveteen Dream, that was also in a cage match, but the Dream gets the disqualification. In the process, Roderick Strong gets the win by DQ. He pushes out Roderick Strong and then pulls in, of all people, Adam Cole, the champ, and then they go at it in the steel cage. So Velveteen Dream getting his push up. It's kind of a good character. Who knows how they'll continue to build that. I always like watching NXT from afar just to find out, guess who's going to be making the rise up to either Raw show or SmackDown show. So it is pretty entertaining to watch.
I've got a quick comment on this, and all of our viewers, please comment on Jack's site about this, and I certainly want to get your opinion. I want to get your opinion too, Mr. Punk. These cage matches. Back in the day, a cage match was something super special. You War Games, Match Beyond, things of that sort. Hell in a Cell. It was like some kind of to put the end, the go home final match of a feud, to like put it to its end and set the horse to pasture, things like that. Now you have NXT having 7, 8, 9 cage matches on one television show during the week. That sounds to me like one word: desperation. Because you've got AEW now that is a viable threat to you. So you're going to have all these 8, 9, 10 cage matches, which back in the day, a cage match was seen as something that was like sacred.
Epic.
It was a great word, epic. It was the way you put to bed an angle, Match Beyond, War Games, Hell in a Cell, something like that. Something that was it was beyond the sense of normalcy. It was a brutality at its best. And now it's like these 8, 9, George South against Mr. Wrestling 2 in a cage match. Why would you do that? Yeah. To me, it's desperation. And I'd love to hear what you think about that.
Well, it definitely makes setting up for the show easy. You just leave the cage out there.
Right. Logistics-wise, it's great. Just leave it above. But again, it's like you're cheapening
a cage match, the premise of a cage match.
I'm going to be very careful how I say this, and I hope I can, but it's almost like you're over-bastardizing the thing.
The cage, yep.
You really are, because that cage was supposed to be something that was surreal, a moment of bliss, a moment of just, it was a classic. You said it was best. Yeah. It was an epic, classic moment.
And maybe they're pushing the cage because they know AEW, their competition.
That's what I'm thinking. Desperation. What do you think, Punk?
I think the ratings come out.
The ratings.
And so they're going to go for what sells. If it bleeds, it leads, man.
You got it. Just like regular news, same thing on this. And remember they said back in the day, red turns to green. Yeah. That's why you had Flair bleeding all the time. He dyed his hair bleach blonde so it could be red, because as soon as that bleeding hits, everybody's starting to watch.
Yep. On to SmackDown. This week's SmackDown show, not too terribly impressed. I thought it was pretty lackluster given the fact that this is the show before a pay-per-view. But either way, they had some things going on, setting up some matches that are going to go on at the Elimination Chamber. They start off the show, Moment of Bliss. She's out there announcing the latest indoctrination into the WWE Hall of Fame. You have the famous NWO guys coming out there talking their stuff. It looks like it was somewhat of a struggle for these guys to talk and carry on a conversation. At one point, they didn't know who was going to say something next, and it was like a few seconds passed before the music for Sami Zayn and Shinsuke hit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, okay. They were waiting for that to happen. They didn't know what to do. So it was a little awkward moment there. So it's kind of funny. They get into the ring. You've got the, right there, back up one, Punk. Just back up one, Punk. You've got, before that happened right there with
this one?
yeah, that one right there. So right there, Sami Zayn gets in the ring with Shinsuke, and he gets in there with Cesaro, and they're talking smack, and you're going, they're like, NWO guys are going, you want to go? You want to go? It was kind of a little heated moment there. And then, again, there was like a little delay in music, like, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? And then all of a sudden, here comes Braun Strowman, his music hits, and he's saying, look, dude, don't want to fight them. You want to fight me, and that's what they're going to do at Elimination Chamber, 3-on-1 handicap. But either way, Braun Strowman gets in the ring. He does the too sweet thing with the dudes. That was pretty epic. He told them these guys are going to get these hands and all that kind of stuff. So that was a good build-up to the match. I'm hoping Braun Strowman can keep his title. So that ends. That goes to black. Next up, you had Lacey Evans, Naomi versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. That was a repeat from last week. But this week, Bayley and Sasha Banks gets the win. That was a somewhat of an entertaining match. I'm not sure how long they're going to continue to push the Bayley.
The four women
Sasha
you just
Banks.
showed on that graphic, those four women.
Yep.
How about a fatal four-way at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Championship with those four women? How about that? Fatal four-way for the belt, those four women.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Yep. It's definitely going to be better than whoever.
That would be a
singles
phenomenal
match,
match, because then you've got the champion and her best friend. What are they going to do? Are they going to team, kind of like a Royal Rumble thing? Are they going to kind of team up on other folks, and then it could be like it could be a fatal four-way, or it could be a match where you eliminate one until you get to the very end, however you want to do it. It's simple, maybe that's what a fatal four-way is, depending on some people call it that, some people don't. Anyway, I think it'd be a great match. I really do.
Yep.
Don't think it's going to happen, but that's why we have fun doing these shows.
Well, they've got a month. They got less than a month now to put it together.
Yeah, I'm sure they have it already.
Yep. So next up, you had Apollo Crews versus Sheamus. Apollo Crews, possibly another one that's in the doghouse with the WWE. Who knows? He gets squashed a couple weeks ago in a handicap match, and he thinks he's going to come fight Sheamus on his own. Not going to happen. Sheamus is on the rise since he came back, so Sheamus lays him out.
Ricochet.
On the way out.
Apollo Crews.
On the way out.
Maybe Shayna Baszler.
She'd be out before she came in.
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, these guys, enhancement talent, whatever you want to call it, they've been there for a long time, but maybe it's a situation where you've got to walk, you have to crawl before you can walk or whatever. And one thing about the wrestling business and our folks that are our independent crew, that fans and their independent organizations that we push, that we certainly encourage you to talk as well. It seems that whenever you get in this business, you can't always be on top. Sometimes you may be red hot, and then all of a sudden, just like that, you drop stone cold.
Yep.
Because you got to put somebody else over, and it doesn't make, to the common fan, it doesn't make any sense. How can you be hot as a pistol one day and now you're cold as ice? Because that's just the way it works in the business sometimes.
Yeah, within a week.
It's not a smooth transition. You go from way high to down low, or down low to way high, and I mean, it's just like that.
In a week.
Or less.
Fighting
and you're
for
like,
the
how the
championship
hell
going
can
down.
that be? Well, that's the mystery of the so-called fake wrestling business, which ain't fake, by the way.
That's right, it's not.
It's not.
Don't
It never
tell me
was.
that.
It never will be.
So there he is, tough man Sheamus. I guess at some point he's been fighting all these lower level people. At some point he's gonna have to challenge somebody big for WrestleMania.
He looks good. Looks
Yep.
really good.
Yep. So next one up, you got Carmella and Dana Brooke versus Fire and Desire. Fire Desire gets the win there. That was a pretty entertaining match. You also had our guy, look who came out with Fire and Desire.
Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler.
Desire. How about this for WrestleMania? Dolph Ziggler against Otis, one-on-one with Mandy Rose as the guest referee. I've heard it. I've heard some scuttlebutt about it, perhaps at WrestleMania. I think it'd be a great match.
You're become a matchmaker.
Dude, I would think it'd be a great match.
Yep.
I really do. I mean, because they're both, and the fact that they're building this up like this, why would you let that slip away? That's like somebody giving you $100 in your hand, you just let it slip away. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because it ain't enough. That's why you want more. Give me more. It ain't enough.
So Fire and Desire gets the win there. Next thing, they got something they've been teasing all night, the Firefly Funhouse, his talk right there. So you had last week, you had John Cena saying he wasn't going to do WrestleMania, telling the fans, sorry. But guess what? At the end of the show last week, you've got The Fiend out there getting ready to go after him right there. So this week, Bray Wyatt is talking from his firehouse. It's pretty funny the way he did this little angle. He's got all the pictures behind him with Cena all X'd out or whatever. And then like clockwork, he turns to the dark side and he goes, I don't want to fight you, but he does. And so there you go. That's going to be a build up for the next couple weeks.
When people thought Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a joke show.
Yep.
Not anymore.
But they did allude to the reason why this has come about, because Bray Wyatt, they referenced back 2014 where Bray Wyatt apparently lost to Cena on his build-up, and it kind of squashed his build-up. Mm-hmm. So that's why he's saying he's coming back. So it ought to be a good match. Next up, the main event of the night. This truly was a main event. You had a gauntlet match to determine which tag team gets to enter the Elimination Chamber last in the good position to be in, because you're not going to be put too much.
Just like number 30 at WrestleMania, at the Royal Rumble.
That's
30th
right.
entrant.
So this week, it starts off with Heavy Machinery in the New Day. I mean, the average wrestling fan is going to go, okay, New Day is in. They're going to just walk through this because they're the New Day.
Right.
So guess what happens? Heavy Machinery gets the win right out the gate. Mm-hmm. So New Day, I'm thinking at some point when Elijah Wood comes back, like you said a couple weeks ago, maybe, it's probably going to go back heel turn. That may be coming.
It's been going for a long, long time, and I think they're really waiting for Xavier Woods to come back, and when he gets completely cleared, do not be surprised, because they did really good when they were heels. I mean, they were strong. They started off at heels. So go ahead and start your little chants. Go ahead and modify your chants. Do an addendum to it. It's no longer New Day rocks. It's going to be New Day sucks again.
Either way, Heavy Machinery beats New Day. Then they turn around and beat Lucha Party House, or Lucha House Party.
I like Party House.
Yeah, that's right, Party House,
I
baby.
like it, dude. Party House.
Then they beat the Usos. And then they beat Miz and Morrison. So they take out 4 tag teams, and everybody's teasing, ultimately it goes down to Heavy Machinery with Otis taking on Ziggler and Rude. This goes back and forth. You're wondering if possibly Desire is going to get involved in it or whatever, but she doesn't. Ziggler and Rude get the win, so they're all happy and high-fiving, so they get to come into the match last. So who's the thing? I can't imagine Miz and Morrison losing the belts this quick, so I think they'll keep it. But that ought to be a very interesting match at the Elimination Chamber.
But this would be a great opportunity for Otis and Ziggler to have some issues in that match, and we're going to solve it and have it climaxed at WrestleMania in Tampa Bay. That'd be the best place to do it. It's already been building up from the Valentine's Day thing and all that, and with the cake and all that, the whole thing. It's been a great storyline, and I'm telling you, it would be a doggone shame not to have those two guys climax that feud at WrestleMania with Mandy Rose as the guest referee. It only makes sense, man. It only makes sense.
Yep. You're going to be upset if it doesn't happen.
Not really.
Okay.
It would be like, oh, well, what do you expect? It is what it is.
All right, so speaking of Elimination Chamber, let's run down that card. This week at the Elimination Chamber on the WWE Network for
$10.89.
$10.89.
Including tax. That's with tax, by the way. $10.89.
Yeah. Well, tax here, but either way, who knows what tax is there? Some places are less than that.
Oh, yeah.
How about
some
I want
more.
the one that's $9.99, period. No tax.
Well,
either way.
That'd be in Texas and Florida, no state tax.
On to the Elimination Chamber. You got a match, Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. I'm guessing Andrade will probably keep the belt there. You've got the Tag Team Championship rematch, Street Profits versus Seth Rollins and Murphy's. Street Profits, I'm going to say keep it there. You've got the Intercontinental, Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke, Sammy, Cesaro. I'm hoping Braun Strowman keeps the belt there.
Yeah, you got to have the Street Profits win that match because you're setting up Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Yep.
It would have to be.
Yep.
Oh, here he goes booking matches again. Now he thinks he's a booker.
Next up, you got Aleister Black versus AJ Styles in a no DQ match. We talked about that earlier. Then you've got the SmackDown Tag Champion, the Elimination Chamber, all these tag teams in there with Rude and Ziggler getting to come in last. Ought to be good for them. And then you got the Raw Championship. Who's going to be the number one contender? Shayna Baszler, Osaka, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, and Natalya. That ought to be interesting.
You got to have the Queen of Spades win it.
Yeah,
you got
for sure. I tell you what, if she doesn't win it, then you really know
Right.
there's background heat
And
with
this
her
is where,
and Vince.
I mean, I hate when anyone passes away, but man, I wish Lemmy was still living, because what a great thing that would have been to have Motorhead play at WrestleMania when she came out. And they could have played Ace of Spades.
Yeah, that would have been.
That would have been so great. Of course, Triple H probably would have had an issue with it, but hey, whatever, man.
Yeah, that's cool. And then on to, after we're done with the WWE family, let's go to AEW Dynamite Weekly. We've been covering, what the ratings are, and it just seems week after week AEW is winning.
That's why you're having 17 cage matches on NXT, man, because they're desperate. AEW has got it going on right now, and it's just getting better and better. And you're going to give some new talent that are showing up, and there's more to come. And it's just, man, they want to make a tag team called Common Sense in whatever organization, and they just lose every match. And why can't Common Sense win a match? Because Common Sense ain't coming to everybody, no matter what you do. The lame male or female fan out there is probably thinking everything I just thought about these WrestleMania matches, booking them, and it ain't going to happen. Why would you not have a match? I mean, geez, it's sitting there right in front. You've been plugging this stuff since November at the Survivor Series, and you won't put the match over. Why won't you do it? You know why? Because Common Sense ain't common to everybody, which is why the tag team ought to be formed, and they go winless for the history of their career. Worst tag team ever in the history of wrestling. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, worst tag team of all time. Common Sense. Why? Because Common Sense ain't common to everybody.
There you go. All right, so AEW Dynamite show wins, beats them head-to-head. NXT, they're up another 5% from last week. So Dynamite's just continuing to rise. Obviously, they were going to be doing good because of coming off of the Revolution pay-per-view. But NXT's got their work cut out for them to stay relevant. I thought it'd be really cool if NXT at some point moves because they can't handle the heat or whatever. But who knows? I doubt that happens. Leading off the show in the AEW Dynamite show this week, you had Jon Moxley, new champion, crowned at Revolution. He's out thanking the fans. He's saying this is wrestling. This is what it's all about.
And he's right.
The fans are going, you deserve it, all this kind of stuff. You knew it was only a matter of time until El Champion, Chris Jericho, comes out. He comes out. He's telling him what he thinks. He thinks it sucks ass. That's his words, not mine. So that's a build-up because later on in the show, on the AEW Dynamite show at the end, there's going to be a tag match with Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho versus Moxley and my new favorite, Darby Allin.
Right.
So we'll get to that in a minute. Next up in the show, you had SCU and Colt Cabana, new arrival to AEW.
That guy right there, Colt Cabana.
Yep.
That, I bet you, and again, this is common sense, I bet you that's Cody Rhodes' attempt to slap Vince McMahon in the face, because Colt Cabana and CM Punk, most wrestling fans know that Colt Cabana and CM Punk are real-life best friends. They did it in the Ring of Honor. They did all that good stuff together. They have a good relationship. When CM Punk left, he and Cabana were doing shows and stuff, and Cabana actually came to WWE for a little while, and he didn't last long, and no one thought that was going to happen, but it was no surprise because he just isn't on good terms with WWE management, and it's nothing he did wrong, to my knowledge. But the thing is, I got a feeling that was a blatant attempt by Cody to get back at Vince, and that's like getting Taysom Hill to stay with the Saints. That's how big it is getting Colt Cabana to be on that program, because he's got such a huge reputation in the Indies, and they can draw these people in. You could talk about Brody Lee will be coming in. You could talk about him soon, who used to be Luke Harper and all that.
Yep.
Matt Hardy's coming in. You mentioned that before. Man, Cody is actually, he's doing the squirrel winter preparation by gathering all the nuts and putting them in hibernation so we won't starve for the winter time. That's what they're doing. And I'm telling you right now, I know we seem like we're pro AEW. No, bruh. We're not pro AEW. We're pro wrestling fans. But the bottom line is, I call it like I see it. Right now, Cody Rhodes is on fire. And unlike Vince, it ain't going to be hot like this and cold like that the next day. He's got something going right now, and he's going to keep rolling with it. And you keep getting guys like Colt Cabana coming in, Matt Hardy coming in, Brody Lee's going to be coming in, Jake Roberts, you're going to mention, is coming in. And I hate to spoil stuff. I'm just saying it. This isn't a spoiler. This is a fact. AEW is on the way up.
Oh, no doubt.
And they're going to keep going up until, God forbid, something internally happens like happened with WCW. And I'm praying that doesn't happen.
Gathering nuts. I haven't heard that phrase in a long time. That's what they're doing, gathering nuts.
Either way,
SCU and Colt Cabana get the win over Dark Order. Dark Order is beside themselves. They're teasing that the power or whatever of Dark Order's coming.
When MH shows up, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But either way, SCU and Colt Cabana get the win over Dark Order. Next up, you had Big Swole against Leva Bates. Big Swole obviously gets the win. Very one-sided match. You know, Big Swole doing her dirty dancing move, all that kind of stuff. So that was good. You got the Dark Order right there on the next one. They're teasing the Exalted One is near.
No.
You don't know who that's going to be.
Look at the terminology. The Exalted One is
right.
near. Where did you ever hear terms like exalted?
Yep.
You know, delete.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, how about that?
Yep.
The Exalted One is near.
No doubt.
Who do you think that may be?
Oh, it's going to be one of those two guys right there. I'm thinking it's going to be.
Probably going to be both.
Yeah. Who knows? Either way, next up match you've got, like I said, Big Swole versus Leva Bates. Big Swole gets the win. I like her move called Dirty Dancing, whatever. Then you've got Cody Rhodes. He's out there talking. Well, she is laying around with the Dirty Dancing move right there. Sits on her. All right. Then you got Cody Rhodes talking out there. People are wondering where he's going to go now that they had to build up to the MJF match. He loses that. He's out there. I don't want to say he's crying, but it seems like he's crying and this and that. And then here comes Jake the Snake, the legend Jake the Snake.
The legendary Jake Roberts.
Yep.
The son of one of the greatest bookers of all time back in the Mid-South era, Grizzly Smith and Sam Houston.
Yep, Sam
The
Houston.
family,
Yep.
the familia. Jake Roberts, you can say what you want. You and I have known each other a long time, okay? You can say what you want. Jake Roberts is WCW, Jake Roberts is WWEF, whatever. Dude, to me, Jake Roberts is Mid-South wrestling.
Yep.
Always has been and always will be. With that legendary DDT and the fans in the Citraplex and in the Independence Hall going freaking nuts in the Baton Rouge area. Jake Roberts.
Jake Roberts.
Mid-South wrestling legend, Jake Roberts. Good to see him back.
Yep.
And thank you, DDP, for saving this man's life, as well as Scott Hall.
No doubt. No doubt. We were talking about that last night. But either way, Jake the Snake's out there saying, hey, stop crying, all this kind of stuff. And he's getting ready to bring the dark side to AEW. So, you know, another plant of a possible either Luke Harper / Matt Hardy. Who knows?
I read these. He talked about, you know, in the from Mid-South, WCW, WWE, especially WWF, he had the snake. He had Damien, the snake in the bag. And every time he come in the ring with that bag, everyone knew that snake was in there and they did not want that snake to be put on them, right? Now he doesn't have a snake in a bag anymore. Now he's got this subliminal threat of the Dark Order, which is going to be their dark side. It's going to be his new snake, if you will. Jake still got something in the tank, brother.
Yep.
Jake still got it in the tank.
See, he just walks away after dropping that little bomb that the dark side's going to encompass the AEW. So we'll have to tune in to see what happens there.
Nothing else left to say.
Next up, you got Chuck Taylor versus Pac. Pac is definitely getting the big push right now. He's taking everybody out. He gets the win there.
Yep, and he walked away with the man's Chuck Taylor shoes, too. That's bad when not only does he beat you, he takes your shoes off. That's insane.
After Pac gets the win, the Lucha Bros come in and attack the Best Friends, part of Chuck Taylor's team. And all these baby faces come to the back, and it's just Pac's going back and forth. He lays them all out. Check out this next one right there. Oh, there's his move right there. He's taunting him or whatever. He's just a bad dude. Next one. There he is right there. Check this one out. He's got them all laid out. He grabs the microphone, and he says, AEW, you've done this to yourself. You know, it's just like, so Pac is on a mission.
You get the joke about the Chuck Taylor?
Yes, I got it.
Chuck Taylor shoes.
That's
Chuck
right.
Taylor shoes.
Yep, that's it.
Pac. Oh, Neville, huh? Oh, could I say that? Yeah, I can say it. I don't work for them.
Neville, that's right.
Neville, Pac, Neville, whomever you want to. See, I'm surprised they let him use Pac, because when he said Pac, I thought they were talking about X-Pac.
Yeah, so did I.
Pac, X-Pac, you know, a lot of confusion going on. But yeah, Neville, Pac, whomever. We talked about this last week. The dude's in phenomenal athletic shape, and this is another one that was let go, if you will, from the WWE. And just like with John Moxley, Jericho, Pac, Matt Hardy, these guys are coming in, and you know what the scary thing is? They're going to be able to wrestle and show angles and skill sets that they always were able to do, but were denied.
Yep.
They were held back.
It looks like a lot of the wrestlers in AEW got some sort of creative control over their characters. Or
Because,
input.
and the scary thing is, they always had that creativity in them. It was just being held back. Why was it being held back? Same reason Common Sense can't win a wrestling match as a tag team, because common sense ain't common to everybody.
Yep. All right, next up, you had your match that we're just going to label QT Marshall and Jake Hager. This was kind of boring, but Jake Hager gets the win there. After the match, all things break loose. You got the Rhodes brothers out there because you've got Dustin feuding with Jake Hager, and all this is going on. The Inner Circle comes out. Young Bucks are out there. Hangman Adam Page is out there. And every time Adam Page comes out there, you think there's going to be some kind of heel turn right there, but it doesn't happen again. He defends the faces, so there he is leaving the ring like, yeah, I got my beer, I'm all good.
And that's another great move by Cody's part. You keep the people guessing. Keep them guessing. Everybody who's a smart orcs like us, oh, he's going to turn, but he doesn't turn.
Yep.
And then when you think, oh, well, I guess you're not going to turn him, that's when he strikes.
Yep.
I love it.
So on to your main event, you got Jon Moxley and my favorite Darby Allin versus Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Getting to the ring, Allin comes out on a skateboard. They introduce Moxley. Moxley's not coming down the ramp. He's coming through the audience, and in the process of coming through the audience, look what happens, fans.
Oh, my God.
Inner Circle just takes him out. So Darby Allin is looking out there going, oh, this is going to be on me. It was on him. Darby Allin, high flyer, doing all his moves. I mean, look at the guy. He's just out of control. He takes that move right there, that reverse tombstone, whatever they call that move right there. That is sweet. But you know what? There's no way he can do it by himself.
See, that's Ricochet Rabbit right there.
Yeah.
That's the real Ricochet, man. Jeez Louise, look at that dude, man.
Crazy goes over there, jumps him.
That's the Ricochet Rabbit right there.
So he was holding his own for a while, but ultimately it's just going to all break down. The Inner Circle ends up finishing him off. There they are, the next one, Punk, right there, just parading over his lame duck body.
Hey, can you go back to whenever he was getting beaten down, Moxley? Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Good God. Somebody better call the police. That boy getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, the beat down was going on there. It was funny that was highlights all over the place, but either way, what happens, the Inner Circle, they end up getting the win, and then at the beginning of the night, they said, hey, if Moxley leaves tonight under his own power, I'm gone for 60 days.
Right, which all the smart marks figure, hey, he's going to go play. He's got a couple shows to do with Fozzy as a rock band, so it looks like he's going to leave. But he didn't.
He didn't leave.
They keep you guessing. That's why Cody's got that bug in his brain.
Yeah,
they inherited it from his father.
They not only beat him down out in the audience, after they're done with Allin, they go out there and they grab him again and pile drive him through a table.
But
so guess
I
what?
like the way that they beat him down like that because that's like it started with the Four Horsemen used to do that stuff. And the NWO did it, the APA did it. I mean, it's strength in numbers. You cross the boss, whoever the boss may be, and you're going to get your butt whipped.
Yep.
And it's another classic, old school wrestling mentality, booking style by Cody Rhodes. And it wouldn't surprise me that he does that because look who his father is. He had heard everything he had brain-wise from his pop.
Yep.
God bless him.
So there you go. Another great AEW show. It just gets better week after week, even with the
better.
ratings. It's just good entertainment. So it brings in the old style wrestling stuff. On to the independents. Ringside Wrangler Reports loves the independents. Sometimes we come here and we talk about these people. You have no idea who they are. It's just exciting wrestling, and then it's cool to see them. And the next thing you know, a couple of years later or a couple of months later, they show up in one of the big leagues. So, and you can go, I remember them when they were at this little small place wrestling in gyms and stuff.
Like Dean Ambrose did it, or Jon Moxley now, and Seth Rollins did it, and Daniel Bryan did it, and AJ Styles did it, and Bobby Roode. I mean, we can go on for another 20 minutes just on these people you just talked about.
They all started somewhere.
They don't just get spit out of the womb and become WWE or AEW superstars. They had to cut their teeth in the business and normally did it independent-wise, and it's our pleasure to give credit where credit is due and push and plug and put over these independent superstars because they're making wrestling great again.
No doubt. So on to one independent organization we follow is Wrestling 225. Last week they had their March Madness. You had the champion Mad Dog Gil Gracie taking on Corey Constantine. Guess what? Constantine is your new Wrestling 225 champ.
Yeah, and I have to give Corey all the credit. I really thought that Gil, because of how many days he held that belt, was to be, but all things have to come to an end. And Corey, congratulations. You certainly earned that belt, and I hope that you wear it and hold it with pride and keep that organization rolling because they're doing a great job right now.
Yep, good show. Their next show is going to be in Livingston the night or the day before WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night right before WrestleMania.
2225 Mania. So look for Corey Constantine to defend that championship. Another independent we follow is ECPW. if you look at their Facebook, it's just loaded with content, loaded with matches. Their next match, they have a show tonight, this Saturday night, at the Ronkonkoma Fire Department. I mean, that's what's cool about these independent shows. They put them on at any kind of venue just to get the fans excited. It's always a great venue to see because you're up and close with the wrestlers. And tickets for this are only $20.
Who doesn't want to go to the fire department and check it out? You know what I mean?
We could do a 60-minute addition to our already long podcast we're doing now about the opportunities that you and I had a chance to actually call play-by-play in Houma at the East Park Rec Center, in Plaquemine at the Iberville Parish Civic Center, in Denham at the East Park Rec Center, in Morgan City. I mean, they've been Berwick. They've been places everywhere, these little bitty no-name heck hole places. That's what you may call them. But to me, those places are magic. Yep. Because that's where, if you weren't there, you'll never know. I can still tell stories this day about that guy who was sitting front row ringside at the East Park Rec Center that night, and the baby face got the fan favorite turned heel that night, and the referee wouldn't do anything, and this 80-year-old guy in the front row ringside, his vein literally started throbbing out of his neck like his thyroid. I thought the guy was going to have a heart attack, God bless him, because he was, we need another referee. We need another GD referee. I mean, he was just fucking saliva flying out of his mouth. And me and my friend Barry Mobile and I think Bob Ryder was, we were like literally I thought our hearts were going to stop beating from just laughing so hard at the guy. And then we felt genuinely concerned for his health because this dude was like turning purple because his neck, you know. You will see that in WWE? Probably not.
No.
AEW? Probably not.
Yeah.
That's where your independent shows are. Plus, it's got good stale popcorn, $20 cold beer. Where you gonna get that?
That's right. It's good entertainment.
I love it, though. Don't get me wrong. That's great. That's the whole aura of an independent wrestling show. Local, good entertainment, and the fans. Sometimes the fans are more, I don't mean to disrespect, I'm just telling you like it is. Sometimes the fans are more entertaining than the wrestlers are. Just like that dude in the front row. That whole night they had really good matches, but I'm going to remember my brain the day I die was that 80-year-old plus dude about to have a heart attack with a thyroid sticking out because the referee wouldn't stop the match when the babyface turned heel.
Somebody stop the match.
It was great.
Either way, the ECPW show tonight, you've got a couple high-flying matches. You've got Cass versus Lawrence Spiral. You got Gary Reno versus Prince Akhenaten.
Akamaki.
Yep. Then you've got Robbie Rebel versus Pancakes. The wrestler Pancakes.
I wonder if New Day's going to be there.
That's a good name there. Oh, I didn't even make that connection. That is a pretty good connection there. Orlock versus Mark Statton. So that looks to be a good show tonight for ECPW. Also remember, ECPW has a training center. Look them up at ECPW1, the number one.com.
And if you go on Facebook, just like maybe search for pro wrestling on Facebook, and depending on what part of the country you live in, they'll probably have the independent leagues will pop up. Like we're in the Baton Rouge area, so when we put in pro wrestling, you'll see 225 and a couple other organizations that'll be plugging their shows. That's a great way, and you can join their fan pages, just like with your show, just like the show that we're doing right here, the Ringside Wranglers show. You'd be able to pull that up. So it's a very strong search tool. Just on Facebook, just pop in pro wrestling, and you get a lot of good things. That's how you can learn about the show that we're doing. You can learn about the independent shows. It's a good search tool. It's a very positive search tool, and it ain't got nothing to do with pornography.
Yeah, that's right. Another thing about the independent shows is sometimes wrestlers that have long been retired, they make guest appearances.
Yeah,
at
like
these shows.
Shane Douglas showed up at a show one time.
There was one this weekend where they were pitching. One of these independents was pitching Kevin Sullivan. Showing up. That was what was it? The Ringmaster.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Well, Kevin Sullivan was like he was with Benoit that time. They had that feud with Woman and all that, and he used to be the Doomsday group.
Yep.
Sullivan.
Either way, that's right.
He was
Good stuff. All right, on to our weekly spotlight. We do a special report each week on just a topic of interest. This week we're talking Matt Hardy because it looks like everything's pointing to him to show up at AEW. So we thought we'd run down a list of things why it makes sense for him to go to AEW of all places. The first thing we thought about was
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
That's the first thing. It's the right thing to do. Right place, right time, right opportunity. Go for it. You may never get this opportunity ever again in your life.
Yep. So one thing about Matt Hardy, he has showed up at every organization. He's fought at all of them. He's worked in TNA. He's worked, look, there he is right there with the Young Bucks with his brother. He's worked at Ring of Honor. He's won title at Ring of Honor. The next one right there, you've got what they were teasing this week with the Young Bucks, where they show up in this Escalade, and there he is. So it just seems like this is a given. This is where he's going.
Right.
So again, Matt's worked in a lot of different places. He's won the Ring of Honor title. He's been in ECW. He's been in Independence. He's wrestled in Japan. So he is used to switching organizations. So it's not a big deal for him to do that. Another reason why it'd be good for him to make this move is his latest WWE run has kind of like gone off the rails a little bit. They originally bring him back, tag team him with his brother, and then they put him in the woke angle with the delete thing. Right. I'm not sure who developed that angle, but I don't think that was a WWE development. I think that was his deal.
It was his deal. He was doing that in TNA and things that started with Impact was trying to bring that over.
Yeah. So, I like the little...
Just like with Willow with Jeff Hardy.
He's been woken and delete. That was a pretty good angle.
Yep.
And I think it was kind of going places a little bit when they teamed him up with Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
But then I think somebody got injured, so that ended that one. Another reason why Matt Hardy would be good to leave WWE for AEW is it's not like he's doing it for the money. I mean, it's like he's been word is he's been wise with his money, so he's kind of loaded and set.
Hey man, that looks like Tony Montana, man.
There he
sitting in the bathroom with the cigar and the freaking and all the cash flow and the cognac. Yeah, man, I like that. He's
set. So another thing is wrestlers get older in their career. They're not into the grind of wrestling night in and night out.
Right.
They want to have if they want to stay in the business, they want to have a creative role. So where else could he go that's better than AEW to have a creative role?
Which is why I'm surprised that Jeff Hardy is actually coming back to WWE, because everything you're just saying for Matt Hardy, his brother Jeff applies to him as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, he makes both of them show up down there. I don't wonder why I'm saying down there. But AEW, they need to end up there. So another thing is, what else does WWE have to offer him? Obviously, they're not offering him anything because the last couple of weeks, he's been just destroyed. He was destroyed by his last... It wasn't last week, it wasn't the week before, but it was like 2 weeks in a row. He just got laid out by Randy Orton. Right. So it's obviously he was on the way out. Yeah. And obviously, look who he's working for. He's working for that dude right there. What was the thing they used to say? I got balls the size of grapefruits or whatever. So obviously, he's not going to have a lot of creative control there. Yeah, that man makes all the decisions.
But the last I checked, you can go to Walmart or your favorite grocery store, and they actually sell grapefruits in slices. In multiple supply, like already done from the produce department, and you can buy whatever and have to buy the grapefruit, do it yourself. So think about that too. Sometimes convenience is a thing. Anyway, he's making the right move. I'm telling you.
No doubt.
And I think Jeff was on the Tuesday night backstage show for WWE, and he was talking about how he was excited to come back, and he was trying to come up with angles, talking about maybe doing the Willow thing and all that stuff again. But I think he's gonna be in the same boat with his brothers. And they did ask about Matt. They said, what do you think Matt's going to be? And he said he hadn't talked to Matt in a while. And he said, it looks like even though we may be in different parts of the wrestling business, we'll still do what we have to do. And I think that's pretty much right on the wall when he said that, because he's pretty much unofficially saying, look, he's going to AEW and I'm staying here.
Yep.
So I just hope that Jeff's making the right move, because he may end up coming back, getting in the same situation his brother's in, and then he might give Cody a phone call and say, hey,
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah. And I know Cody would take it.
So if he's going to the bosses at WWE saying, hey, I want to have more creative control, all this kind of stuff, so WWE can say, hey, we got NXT, that's created to ultimately anything AEW, everything else can be a distant second if you want creativity.
AEW gives you creative control, like the Hogan creative control in WCW, something like that, where you actually have a say-so in your career path and what you want to bring and not bring to the table. It's a flexible working schedule, which is really big, what you talked about, because if you do have a wife, or if you're female and have a husband and you get kids, whatever, you can spend time with them. And I know Matt was really big about that. It is the smart decision to make if you're older and you are financially established and you do have children or family and you want to be able to use all the tools that you blood, sweat, and tears to get with your creativity in the past to where you are today, and you want to use some of that control without the man, not Becky Lynch, but the other man telling you what to do. AEW, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth, which ain't much, would be the right choice to make, and I believe Matt's making the right decision.
Yep. Next, another thing AEW offers is a clean slate of wrestlers that he's not really worked with before.
That always helps.
That's going to be good.
That always helps, because now you can bring your creativity to the table with those guys who you've never fought before, and that's going to make them better and keep you on top of your game. So it's a win-win.
So he's got new matchups. He's got new tag teams to work with. That's going to be exciting for him. Also, obviously, we always hear this all the time when somebody makes the move to AEW, is better working schedule. They don't do night after night.
And look, that's it right there.
flexible
That's it
schedule.
right there. What,
Then he
what
can,
it's all about
you
is
know,
having those babies in your hand.
yeah,
That's
less
what it's about.
matches, less chances to get hurt, more time to heal up. It just seems like it's more productive.
You think he would like to see those babies graduate high school, graduate college, get married? You
Yep.
think he'd like to see that?
Oh yeah,
He probably won't be able to see it if he keeps
WWE,
wrestling at
yeah,
the
that's right.
hellacious, reckless style he had before. You know, when you get a certain age, man, it's time to. It's not about you anymore. It's about your wife and your kids, or your husband and your kids, or whatever the case may be. If you're female, you know, do what you got to do.
yeah.
So,
Then the other one is, you know, obviously you want to end your career on a high note. You know, it's just rather than just being the mid-card jobber.
Yeah.
You know, putting people over.
boy,
You know,
this sounds so doggone personal to me. What he's doing in terms of my personal life, what I want to do in my career and stuff. You get tired of the washing machine mentality. Rinse, lather, repeat. What? Rinse, lather, repeat. What? You get tired of that. You want to start doing things that are not mundane. You want to start doing things that are not cumbersome. You want to start doing things that actually make sense.
Yep.
But what did I say for the last time? Winless tag team in the history of the business. Why? Because common sense ain't common to everybody.
That's right. All right. Common sense. All right. And then obviously the point that we think he's going to AEW is just the continuous clues that they keep getting pitched. You know, the Dark Order talking their stuff, coming out there saying he's going to be spoken. He's the Exalted One, whatever. The Exalted One is near. Either way. So that does it for the show this week. Any final comments?
We say this every week. We'll say it again. Thank you for watching this show. We appreciate your interest in the product, and we encourage you to send your thoughts and your comments. Send them to Mr. Jack.
Yep.
With the
Ringside
program.
Wranglers at gmail.com. Like us on Facebook and YouTube. You can comment there. We read our comments. You can, you know, obviously reach out to us via email or through Facebook Messenger.
You know, we are no different than you that are watching this show. We're passionate wrestling fans. I had an opportunity where I was blessed to work in the radio industry, where I was able to do wrestling radio reports and hotlines on the newspaper back in the day when I did my thing. And now I'm blessed to be able to contribute with this. This gentleman right here, we've been friends for a long, long time. Mr. Punk's got the creative control. He's got all the opportunity for all the technology and things of that sort, and he's got a brilliant mind to do it. So when you got three people coming together with this type of the resources, it's like AEW. You got the guy with the Jaguars, got the money. Cody Rhodes got the brains. You got top talent. When you put all that stuff together, it can be like WCW should have been, but the inmates ran the asylum. Here, there ain't no inmates.
That's right.
We control our own destiny.
That's right.
So, long story short, thank you for watching this program. We encourage you to give it your input, anything we can change, anything we can keep, what you like, what you don't like, et cetera, et cetera. You're the reason why we do it, and you're the reason that either this show is going to do well or it won't do well. It has, has a lot to do with your input.
No choice. No choice. All right. I'm your host, Jack Jaw. That's your report for this week. We are out.
And one last thing. Who was responsible for the Elimination Chamber?
Eric Bischoff.
Correct answer. Mr. Bischoff, the brains behind the chamber.
That's right. Later.
It's the Ringside Wranglers Wrestling Report with your host, Jack Jaw.